Morning, Spencer.
Good morning.
Got two great guests in studio talking about a fun event, and it is 15 years strong now, talking bluegrass from the forest. Greg, Linder, Duane Wilson. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you here, nice and early as we're getting ready to kick off the 15th annual Bluegrass from the Forest. Checking out the 2019 event program. Rachel Hansen, of course, puts together some beautiful work for all sorts of great organizations. And this is a sharp-looking event program. Not only the look of it, but it is chock full of information on the bands and the schedules. Tell us a little bit more about Bluegrass from the Forest for folks who may just be new to the community, and a way to get them here.
Well, we started Bluegrass in the Forest as a means to raise funds for a restroom at Callahan Park, and Greg and I worked in the same industry. He is a builder, and I used to work at what was then Lumberman's. And I asked him if we were looking for a way to pay for the bathroom. It ended up taking us 3 years, but Greg said, well, I said, do you think we could put on a Bluegrass Festival? In our first few years, we went with regional bands, and then as he took a chance on Cedar Hill. That's all in the Fjord magazine that Rachel did. And then Greg has just gradually signed more and more national talent and the best regional bands around, and so it's fun.
So you mentioned you guys talking about this, and then you say bluegrass. Why did you jump right to bluegrass? You guys have it in your...
Well, we back in the late 80s and early 90s, we worked together also on a event called Bluegrass from the Heart, which was at the same auditorium. And it was all, we hired regional bands.
Yeah.
We had three. It was just a one evening event.
Okay, so that's kind of how it all came about.
Yeah, and so we were the host band. It was Caravan. It was Caravan at the time. It was in my band, and we were the host band, and then there were two other bands each of those. Anyway, we did that for a few years, and so
let's try that again.
We're sort of into bluegrass.
It kind of died out then. And then when we came back, then we had the benefit of Christmastown Kiwanis and all the folks with all their knowledge and energy, and that really took us to another level. And now, in my opinion, Rachel's really taken us to another level with the help she's given us on this type of thing, advertising, Facebook, and all the other those types of things.
I mean, you bring in top-notch bands from all across the country, as this is one of the major kickoffs for the Bluegrass Festival season.
The Northwest is definitely the kickoff.
This is it. And, I mean, you look at the list of sponsors for the bands and the workshops and where you get tickets, and it's a big complete community event. Let's talk about some of the bands and where they're coming from this year. Alan Bybee's the headliner. Is that what we're thinking?
He's one of the headliners, and he's out of North Carolina. He was here 5 years ago, and a real big hit. And he's really excited to become. They're very excited to be coming back. And they're just a phenomenal band.
Alan Bybee was last year's International Bluegrass Association Mandolin Player of the Year, and I think that was the fourth or fifth time he won.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's just amazing to see somebody of his caliber. We have a lot of good mandolin players, but then same thing. It's like going from the Huskies to the Seahawks.
Sure.
Sure. But the entire
just
band
a totally
is just
different
a really
level.
great band.
Yeah, and the other band.
If you had to describe bluegrass to somebody who's new to the genre of music, how would you best describe it, kind of the origins of it maybe, and some of the themes that run through it? Or is it
I would
kind of a
say,
difficult thing to think?
it evolved through quite a few years, and it's a combination of different genres all put together, from old blues to some rock and roll, some folk music, and just combine it all together with a certain instrumentation.
Yeah.
And back in the mid 1940s, Bill Monroe, who we call the father of bluegrass, he actually coined the term bluegrass, and Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, and the instrumentation was mandolin, guitar, fiddle, and banjo, and bass.
Are those the kind of main instruments you're always going to hear? The mandolin and banjo, things like that?
Yeah.
North Country has a really good young dobro player, and he also plays fiddle too. So there's a little bit of dobro sprinkled in it. Dobro's resonator guitar, they play almost like flat steel.
Oh, okay.
In Hawaiian music, that type of.
And there's generally no drums in bluegrass, although there's some forms, some progressive types of bluegrass that they do have drums.
Sure.
Quite a bit of swing influence too.
Yeah,
There's
swing
quite
also.
a few. Greg plays. Their band plays a few swing tunes up there once in a while, and
Yeah.
the crowd really loves them. The swing has a nice.
Slocan Ramblers come from Canada. Is this the first time you've had international representation here at Bluegrass?
No, we've had John Reichman and the Jaybirds out of Canada too.
Okay.
No, the Shelton Ramblers is
Any difference
Real.
between American bluegrass and Canadian
not really.
bluegrass?
They're
In a typical year, we'll get 8 or 10 from BC come down, and then this year with this band from Canada, and that young man who plays the dobro is from Canada. So usually his grandma and grandpa come and a bunch of friends.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, so we
we get a fair number of people from.
Let's talk about
Canada.
Chick's Kids and what goes on with that. The School of Bluegrass, Chick Rose and the School of Bluegrass. This is pretty cool how this works out.
Chick Rose was the initiator of the program, and he did several years in Shelton, and we'd have kids come from all around, and it's a free program for the kids themselves. It's a workshop that happens in the middle of the day on Saturday.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually from 10 to 12 is the workshop. They show up at the lobby with their kids, and they're thrown into a workshop situation to where they, whatever instrument they have, or give them one to use, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a bluegrass instrument, just anything to get them into the music and singing and whatever.
That's awesome.
And then they get broken up into several ensembles, and they actually play on the main stage for a 20-minute show.
You have kids that started back, early on this that are now part of bands that come back
Absolutely.
through here?
Yep. They're in some national bands. Yeah.
my
Really?
granddaughter's going to participate, Alana, this year, so that's going to be
That's
fun for me.
awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Banjo contest, mandolin tasting. So the mandolin tasting is pretty cool because, Alan Bybee, you're saying this champion at this thing.
Yeah.
So people will bring their mandolins, and these run from $10 to $250,000. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true.
And-
Yes, I'm sure he plays. Well, he has his own line of Gibson mandolins now, but a lot of them will have $250,000 mandolins.
That's amazing.
And to hear him, your instrument played by a real live expert, a virtuoso, you see what the capabilities of that instrument are.
And you go, I got to start practicing.
For sure.
Anyway,
YouTube
yeah,
videos aren't working.
this mandolin tasting is basically you just bring your instrument and you talk about it, and he plays it, and
He's never real critical. I would say
Sure.
maybe you need to move the bridge a little, or I do this or that. But it's fun for people. It's one of our more well-attended events.
Is it kind of like Antiques Roadshow? You get the expert in
Very
there to
similar.
look at
Yeah,
that,
very
and
similar,
they
yeah.
check it
It's
out.
just-
That's pretty
they
awesome.
just,
Band scrambles, those are fun. So this is kind of the deal where you pull your name out of a hat almost, and you come together, find a name, and you got a couple minutes to come up with some songs.
You throw the band together, and it's just randomly put together, and then you go off into your corner and you practice for your 35 minutes or whatever, and then you're thrown up on stage. It's a blast.
It's
just a
fun
lot
a
of
way to
fun.
meet people and learn some new songs.
Sure.
Almost every time I've ever, I try to let our customers do it rather than me joining in. But when I have a few times, yeah, you meet new people, learn some new songs. Yeah,
RVs
it's fun.
start rolling in Friday afternoon after school, probably 4 or something like that.
That's
and,
when they're let in. They start rolling in all day long.
and then
gotta
you're
keep
hearing
'em,
picking and strumming all weekend, right?
They're out. Which church is
We
that?
got the two churches up there, the Presbyterian Church and the Church of the Nazarene, where they're
Kind of
Or-
waiting
oh,
to let you guys in.
yeah, they line up there and just
A lot of them tell me those are the best jams of the festivals while in the parking lot out there
Uh-huh.
waiting to get let in because we can't get on the school grounds till 4:30.
Sure, yeah.
So-
We
It's
have
quite
to
a-
have everybody there and parked by 6:40.
it's quite a procession.
Oh man!
We've
it's
talked over
stressful.
the years of the amount of folks that come from all around Oregon, California, Idaho, Montana. People drive Vancouver, British Columbia, and the like. And we keep talking about this to try to get more local Shelton folks in. How's that? Is that still coming along?
It's progressing.
Every year we progress a little. It's been a frustration a little bit, but I don't think a lot of folks around here understand what level of talent there is playing good acoustic music.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And it's not all just bluegrass. Somebody will throw in a Beatles song once in a while. Merle Haggard.
How's
you know.
that? How do the traditionalists feel about all that? The Beatles music, and maybe even adding a drum kit in there. They don't mind. It just kind of expands the genre.
There's real hardcore sometimes, but generally
For the most part, they'll take one
very
or
well.
two. You know?
as well as after we had a piano up there once,
Yeah, a young man.
and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. Another, going back to the children thing, this year we're having a group from Centralia Chehalis, a family band that goes from, I think the oldest girl's 20 and it goes down to 13. 3 girls, one boy playing bass, one boy playing the guitar. And they have nice vocals, and they're going to open the show Friday night. So.
And it's not on. It's the last minute thing.
Yeah.
It's not on.
Oh,
the program,
okay.
But it's the special short performance.
Alan
to be
Bybee in
announced.
Grasstown, the Slocum Ramblers, North Country, Me and the Boys, the Warren G. Hardings, and local band, of course, Runaway Train, been playing for many, many years now. You can get tickets at Music 6000 in Olympia, Shelton Music, the Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce,
Builders
First Source, also online at bluegrassfromtheforest.com. And next week we'll be giving away passes to different sections of this.
And tickets at the door.
Oh, and tickets at the door. Okay.
One other quick
Yeah.
thing. Vendors, Radio Fryer here in town, and another one. I'm serving food, and last night I signed up. A gentleman's going to be doing roasted corn.
Oh, you got him.
And
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
and he may. He might even be making roasted corn and clear up it while we'd have the dance and up till midnight. And then you could have hot dogs and roasted corn at midnight.
It's a lot of fun. There's a
Yeah,
lot
midnight hot dogs.
of folks that come and they end up playing all night long. You meet some new lifelong friends at these festivals.
And we have a couple, the Slocum Ramblers and the Warren G. Hardings. They're a couple of young bands that
Maybe
we're
not
going to
so
bring in a
traditional.
younger crowd.
Not so traditional, kind of pushing the limits of bluegrass.
absolutely.
15th annual Bluegrass from the Forest next weekend here on the Shelton High School campus, proudly presented by the Christmastown Kiwanis. Greg, Dwayne, good to see you guys as always.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you
we will-
for your support. I
Oh,
think
of
this is your
course.
15th too.
That's
isn't
it. That's
Yeah.
right. That's it.